Hey, what's up, everybody? It is Zach of Darkon Entertainment, and if you notice, right there, my tooth it chipped because of a little bit of an accident that happened earlier this week. Overall, I'm fine, and I got a dental appointment scheduled for me to get like a either a crown or a filling, either one to do it the trick. But yeah, in case anybody goes wondering, that's what happened. I'm not gonna like give any more details than just that, but nonetheless, that's what happened. So, I just got done watching The Batman just right now. And what I think of it, it's pretty damn good, not gonna lie. So, it's pretty brooding. It's kind of slow-ish paced, but I also am finding those slow-paced movies nowadays to be a nice change of pace. No pun intended or anything like that. Especially in comparison to how modern Hollywood entertainment wants to be so fast-paced to try and catch people's attention. But what is catching my attention is like a well-acted, well-paced, um, I don't know, what well played, well cinematographed, if that's even the word, and well atmospheric type of movies. That's one of the reasons as to why that I like Dune is that it actually took its time with the pacing of the movie, but it was pretty good, and there was quite an intricate. I'm not going to reveal spoilers, by the way, right now. I don't know if I'll do that at all any point in this review. I mean, you just gotta go ahead and see it yourself. It is pretty good. There is an intricate and well knit, tightly knit plot to it, a bit of a political plot to it as well. That kind of ties in with the investigative adventures that Batman normally goes on. Like, they definitely nailed down on all these different clues that Batman had to get. And of course, you know that it was the Riddler that was pretty much the main bad guy in this movie that Batman was going against. So you all obviously already knew that there was going to be some heavy investigating, heavy clue finding that Batman was going to do in this movie, but it was pretty good to watch it unfold. On top of that, of how that the political plot, how that also unfolded and was revealed to us intricately side by side with the investigative crime fighting that Batman was doing. Um, and it was pretty like fairly serious, if not a little bit too serious. You could almost argue that the movie took itself a little bit maybe too seriously, that it wasn't having enough fun with itself, but at the same time I don't think that there was enough like stupid shit that happened in this movie to make it like seem like it was rather unearned, that the seriousness was really unearned, and it just ultimately looks like clownish. Like, ultimately, I don't think that's the case at all. But that being said, so the seriousness does work in a way, but at the same time, one could be saying that it's a little bit too serious, that it's not fun enough. I mean, it's even more serious and more dark and brooding than I would say the Dark Knight trilogy was, for that matter. And everybody goes talking about how the Dark Knight trilogy, particularly the second one, was like the most overly realistic, serious, and dark one of all the Batmans, really. And everybody keeps on giving that commentary about Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight, but this one took it to the max when it comes to seriousness and the darkness and whatnot with it. So even Christopher Nolan's Batman took a little bit, had a little bit more fun with itself, with the cinematography and the soundtrack and whatnot, whereas this one, again, was a more slow pace and took its time. What's some other cons before I get on to talking about more pros that I have to point out about this movie? I will say that there were some things that seemed to like kind of uncharacteristic about Batman, as to that made me think a little bit. I'm not so sure if he would do that. Like, there was this one particular part, which this isn't like big spoilers, of where that he just kind of goes through the front entrance as the Batman himself, knowing that he was going to get in trouble with some goons. Instead of like sneaking around a back entrance or a secret entrance that he finds or whatever, he just goes through the front entrance. Like, he has the two front goons, like there are these two twin characters who are sort of supposed to be some cartoony, well, almost kind of cartoony cannon fodder minions for our main hero to fight against. Although they weren't like super cheesy, but nonetheless, he like comes up to the entrance and he just barges through the entrance essentially and goes fighting off the goons. And I gone thinking to myself, is this really characteristic of Batman? Shouldn't Batman be trying to find himself a work around that sort of stuff so that he can like actually get down to facing the main head of the establishment to get on with his investigation and whatnot, instead of like doing this arguably needless fighting? I don't know. There was that bit of issue, and I did not really like Catwoman's acting. The actress that they had for Catwoman, she, a good portion of the time, came off as kind of emotionless. There were some parts where that she gave off some emotion, but then there were like other parts where that you would expect somebody to be overly distraught and emotional, that she was not showing any emotion, hardly. She was pretty wooden and not very fluid with her acting, and it was just not very engaging, and it just kind of sucked me out of the movie at some points with with those aspects of the movie. I mean, it's not like Michelle Pfeiffer's a Catwoman back in Batman Returns, the one that had Michael Keaton playing as Batman. It's not like where that she was like overly crazy, psychotic, and like was really trying to actually play the role that Michelle Pfeiffer was right there. It just, yeah. If you go watching the movie yourself, there's nothing really impressive with Catwoman. I think that it's safe to say that Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman, in spite of what people have to say about the costume itself being ugly, she probably still has the best acting and character playing of that character, that being, of course, Catwoman. I think that's all that I have for cons, but as far as pros go, I did like Andy Serkis as Alfred. Nobody can beat Michael Caine, in my opinion. Jeremy Irons and Andy Serkis, they are not as good as Alfred's, in my opinion. Like, Michael Caine is just the pinnacle, peak British gentleman. And that's pretty much what I envision Alfred to be, is pinnacle, the quintessential British gentleman, always willing to serve the tea and all that stuff and whatnot. But Andy Serkis, he had his own kind of artsy, artistic play on the character of Alfred. Like, he was having a full-on scruffy beard and all that stuff. He was like a dirtier Alfred, one could almost say. But he wasn't bad. He wasn't outright bad. He was his own animal. But as far as playing the character of Alfred, I still have to give it to Michael Caine. Michael Caine is still best Alfred to me, in my opinion. There were some other artistic licenses that the movie took as well, like how Robert Pattinson was having kind of an emo, almost chin-length haircut, playing as Bruce Wayne / Batman. People, I'm not so sure how well that sets with me, but it wasn't a biggie. And of course, they turned Commissioner Jim Gordon black, but that's not a big deal. What really is the most impressive thing, and also people will probably like go complaining about how woke that Batman is for that move right there. But I would have to hard press against that. Like, it's not like that they were being preachy about, oh, this is a black Jim Gordon right here, y'all. No, when I saw Gordon being portrayed on screen, I just saw Commissioner James Gordon. And really, I gotta also say, because that Batman has been recreated and rebooted so many freaking times, it's almost called for that those kinds of artistic licenses, if done right, to be practiced out when you're making your own Batman. But anyway, when I saw Gordon, Commissioner Gordon, being put on screen, he was pretty much kind of like Gary Oldman's Gordon, and him being like pretty much straight to business, calm, cool, collected chief or police commissioner or whatever. Particularly in the first half. In the last half of the movie was one that he got badass. Like, he wasn't afraid to lay hands on Batman to get things going on the right route as far as what needs to be done and whatnot. Gary Oldman's Batman was a little bit more intimidated by Batman, but this particular Jim Gordon, whatever, he was arguably more badass than Gary Oldman. So that's what all that counts. And he was pretty much just a well dignified Gordon overall, unlike the Gordon that we had in the Tim Burton movies. Even though the last two of that Batman quadrilogy were not directed by Tim Burton, but you know what I mean right there. That Gordon was undignified. That particular James Gordon was undignified, was clownish and buffoonish. Gary Oldman's Gordon was pretty well dignified, much improved, and this Jim Gordon, he was arguably even more dignified and badass. But yeah, he was pretty good. I also liked of how Robert Pattinson, he played Batman. Like, he did not have quite the physical appearance of Batman or Bruce Wayne. Like, when he goes shirtless, you can tell that he wasn't that muscular. He wasn't as muscular as, say, Ben Affleck or, damn it, I forget the guy's name. You know who I'm talking about. The guy who played as Batman in the Christopher Nolan Batmans. Christian Bale, dang it. He wasn't quite as bulky as Christian Bale or Ben Affleck, which that was kind of disappointing. Like, he was maybe about just as bulky as I am, or maybe a little bit more so, but he wasn't much different from me when it came to muscle mass. So it was all like, this is the guy that's supposed to be like beating people up with his bare hands. It's slightly unbelievable, but that said, he played a very good Batman in my opinion. He did not have an over-the-top voice like Christian Bale or Ben Affleck did, when Ben Affleck sounded all metallic and Christian Bale was all like, where are the other drugs going? No, he had a calm voice to him, Robert Pattinson's Batman, in the same way of Michael Keaton, but he dropped an octave a little bit to lower his tone. He's all like, I'm vengeance. Like, he was trying to sound normally, kind of dark and mysterious, just a little bit trying to change up his voice. He wasn't going over the top like this, like Christian Bale's Batman was. But you get my point there. He's a pretty good Batman, and I like Penguin in this movie. Like, damn, was Penguin pretty funny in this movie. Like, he was pretty much kind of the comedic relief, the way that he was being toyed around by the other characters and a little bit pushed around. Like, he wasn't an absolute buffoonish clown, but whenever Penguin got agitated in this movie, it was pretty entertaining to watch his reaction to it. You'll just have to see it for yourself to know what I mean. And the one guy, I cannot remember the actor's name. The guy who played as Simmons, what's his face from the Transformers movies? He plays as Falcone, or Falcone, however he pronounces his name, and he's another villain that is in this movie, and he gave a pretty good performance of being a suave, debonair crime boss and all that stuff. It was pretty fun to watch. And there was also the handling of how that Thomas Wayne, of course, Bruce's dad, he is revealed to have some sins. Like, he is definitely a flawed man. He is not a perfect man, but he ultimately still is a good man. So I like that take a little bit. Like, they're trying to add some nuance to these characters, to the characters that are typically seen as the good guys within the Batman lore, just to make it a little bit more interesting to watch. And it really latched onto my brain, the way that it was so damn well interwoven within this movie, all the plot elements being played out. It was that good. Man, if I was to actually sit down and watch this with some friends and commentate about it with people, I could probably go on forever about it. Really, this is quite live stream worthy to be talking about, the Batman, I mean. And there is obviously so many other things that I want to talk about this movie that I was thinking about when I was there in the movie theater watching it and whatnot. But I cannot remember them right now. But just trust me, it's pretty good. It's definitely better than Ben Affleck's Batman. It's better than Michael Keaton's Batman, even. And I'd say that it's pretty on par with Christopher Nolan Batman movies, if not slightly better. I don't know. There's another thing. Riddler was pretty good. Like, the scenes of when that he gone tormenting and torturing people and laughing at their pain and all, and how he thought that he had them wrapped around his finger and whatnot, particularly Batman. It was pretty freaking scary. Like, we're talking Heath Ledger's Joker levels of scary. I thought it was pretty damn good. The performance given by Riddler. Maybe some people have like have a Jim Carrey's Riddler, have a, have him, okay, have them have a special place in their heart or whatever, and even like a Danny DeVito's Penguin. Some people have a special place for him in their hearts as well. But I still think that Riddler was pretty good and Penguin was pretty good. It just overall really good movie, definitely worth the watch. It's not perfect by any means, but what do I have to rate it? 8 out of 10. Go ahead and see this movie. It's fun to watch, and definitely, damn, that car chase scene of that, seen it unfold. Of course, it was revealed in the trailer, so I'm not spoiling anything right now. But when Penguin and Batman gone in that car chase scene with everybody, it was pretty fun to watch. That was probably the funnest, as far as actual fun factor goes. That was probably the funnest part of the movie to watch. But anyway, I'm Zach of Dark Hunt Entertainment, and I highly recommend this movie. See y'all later, and bye-bye.